right, so I'm James Kingsley. I've been working in the e-learning industry for like 15 plus years. I love just taking tools apart, all the different course development tools, web tools, taking them all apart, and then trying to see if I can build it better, putting it back together, maybe combining different tools together to create awesome e-learning tools to really help out our developers and our learners through the years. I've been working with eLearning Brothers for, oh gosh, I don't know, about 10 years now as a consultant. And then a couple of years ago, they offered me an opportunity that was just so exciting and fulfilling for what it is I like to do that I actually took a real job for the first time in like 15 years. So that's been a little weird for me, but I love having, because I have these crazy ideas about, oh, what if we could do this and what if we could do that? And now to have all the support of eLearning Brothers behind me and the resources and developers to actually start building these things out, I am super excited about the work that we're doing at eLearning Brothers there. I have my LinkedIn page up there, so that's probably the easiest way to connect with me and contact me. I wanted to get started just talking about, so our tool that I'm going to show you is really used for the development of microlearning. And microlearning is usually categorized in it's short learning, usually 15 minutes or less. And it covers just one or two learning objectives. It focuses on what the learner really needs to know so they can get in, get what they need to know, and get back out again. It's usually responsive right out of the box, and it has simplified learner navigation so that they don't have to figure out, you know, what 10 things do I need to click on to get to the next page. There's usually not complicated scenarios. It's really simplified, down and dirty. Let's get the content to the learner. The nice thing about these is then later, once those are built, you can expand them into full-blown courses if you want. So then I had and Stephanie, I don't know how you queue these up or anything, but I had a poll that I was going to do there asking just how many of you currently are working on microlearning modules or looking at implementing microlearning modules in your current e-learning workflow there.
All right, so yeah, if you want to just share your answers in the chat and we will take a look at those.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so answers coming in. We've got some people saying yes, some people saying that they're looking to start creating microlearning. Some people saying not yet. I'd say the majority of the answers we're getting so far are saying that people are creating microlearning, but there are a few people who haven't done it yet.
Awesome, awesome. And so that leads me, thank you, Stephanie. That leads me into my next point there, which is the microlearning is really growing now, particularly a lot of it because of the work from home, but also people are learning in different places now. If you're trying to figure out how to change the oil in your car, you're likely just to go to YouTube. You're going to find a video just for changing the oil in your car. You don't really need to know the history of that car or how oil works. You just want to know, how do I get the old oil out and how do I get the new oil out? And so it's partly the mindset of our current learners, but also it's part of getting people in and getting them what they need to know right away in there. The online module builders that we're seeing in the industry right now is really an idea borrowed from the web development world. So if you've ever used WordPress or Squarespace or Wix, or even like Google has a simple website builder. I think Microsoft has their online website builder maybe built into SharePoint. So all these allow you to easily just drag and drop elements onto the page. Oh, I need a text element, I need an image element, and you don't need to learn programming to make that work. And as I mentioned, the responsiveness is going to be right out of the box, so that when your learners are looking at it, no matter what device it's on, it's going to reformat itself so that it looks good on that device in there as well. And it's also great for subject matter experts, because if you have somebody that is an expert at forklift safety, you don't need to teach them how to use a complicated tool or buy them a license to a tool. They can just jump in and start using one of these online module builders in there. All right, so, and then as far as our approach goes, we're building our tool that I'm going to show you in a minute. We're building our tool into our other products. So it's currently in the Rockstar Learning Platform, where it's in Lectora Online. We're adding it to a lot of our other tools, and we're hooking our other tools into it. So as you'll see, we have amazing games that you can create through the Training Arcade. And we have amazing virtual reality experiences that you can create. And so we're building these tools so that you can start combining those into one place and create this awesome training for your learners in there. So let's jump over and start taking a look at the tool. So as I said, we have it in a couple of places. I'm going to show it to you today in the Rockstar Learning Platform. I am logged in now to the Rockstar Learning Platform, and I'm going to go over to my Content tab. And when I select Add New, I can see that in there I have an option to create a new microlearning module. And when I click that, it asks me some basic information. If you've seen any of the other presentations or you've already used the Rockstar Learning Platform, you might be familiar with some of these. But right up front, I have here, build my microlearning module. And so I'll click that. And this is launching our tool. This is our rapid online course development tool here. And it starts out, gives me a couple of blocks in there, a text block and a title and a description block. And it's super easy. I can just click right in there and I can say, oh, I'm going to build this course all about, let's say, what is e-learning? What is it? And then I can add a description, find out here. And then to save time, I have put a bunch of text on another document that I have here so that we can just copy and paste some stuff here. This chunk will be about microlearning there. So you see when I put that text in, I get a formatting bar, so I can start formatting that. If I click out of it, that's going to give me a preview. So that shows me that's what the learner is going to see is when I'm clicked out of it. If I click back into it, I might want to add a little title to this section. What is microlearning? And I'll make that heading in there. And so it's all pretty straightforward. If you've used any text editing tools, Google Docs, Office 365, any of those tools, all this should seem really straightforward and familiar to you there. So you notice that I just copied and pasted that from my doc, and I was able to format it there. But I just wanted to illustrate, if I do a new text block in here, and I'm going to jump over to one of our blog posts. Oops, not that one. There. I'm going to jump over to one of our blog posts that we have here on gamification. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight everything down through here. Control C, copy that. Come back over to my thing. When I click in here and paste, you'll notice that actually it kept all the formatting. Now we're using some different fonts and some different styles there, but it kept the formatting. So my bullet points carried over, even my link carried over. And so the formatting here for those bold and centered text, even that image copied over in here for me. Now, as I said, it took the style that I was using in here. This is probably too big for that, so I could just go ahead and change that and say, well, that's way too big. Let's just make that a heading 5. That might be too small. Heading 4 there. It even copied over that quote. So if I go back over to there, we can see that there was a quote on the page. And when I did the copy and paste, it respected that quote and it had added it in right there. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. I have something in here later about themes, but while we're here, I think it's a good time to mention it. So as I said, it applied our styling to that. So that's our heading 1 styling. And if I change my theme, and I go to, like, say, theme 1, we can see there's a subtle change in the font and the styles that were used for that. We have a couple of other themes built in here. I'm kind of fond of this imperial gold one. I like the way it makes this nice gold text in there. Our research team has done a lot of work with these themes to make sure that they are ADA 502 compliant too, so that we know that the text is going to stand out and that screen readers are going to be able to pick it up as well there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop in a couple of images here as well. So I think what I want to do, and so I have 2 options to insert new block types here. I have my insert block type bar at the bottom. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Then I also have a little floating one, so that if I wanted to insert something in between 2 things, I can pop that up. And I'm going to drop in an image here. You have the option, you can just drag and drop your images right in here and it will add them. Or I can just click my device, and on this one, I'm just going to put a header on there. I'll insert that. So that's just a nice little header introducing my topic. I can put a caption on here, eLearning banner. That's nice too, because we use that for the alt tag and the ARIA label to help screen readers out when they come through there, to help with that 508 compliance. And since I really want that, I think, to be the first thing at the top of the page, I have a couple of options to move it. If I just wanted to move it up and down one item, I could click that to move it up 1 row or move it back down a row. You can also just grab the little drag handle and I could drag it anywhere onto the page that I wanted to in there. But I want it at the top right now. So I want to go ahead and let's add a little more text here, I think, at the bottom. Let's see. Let's put in a quote here. I tell you, it's interesting if you start going through and looking at like the history of e-learning. It's interesting to see a lot of the people that predicted e-learning way back in the day. And so this is a quote from Steve Wozniak. So I'm going to format that as a quote, and I'm going to put his name over here. I'm going to float that to the end of the quote there. And like I said, when I'm clicked into it like this, I'm seeing it in my editing view. But as soon as I click out of it, I can see that's exactly what that's going to look like to my end learner when they get in there. So let's drop another image in between those 2, I think. Where'd my thing go? Oh, I clicked text instead of image. Always while you're doing things live. So I did want to illustrate, we support multiple image formats. So this one is a little animated GIF that I can drop in there. Just has some slight animations. That's pretty cool because if you want to just create a little bit more motion effects, a little more interest, it's pretty easy just to generate GIFs these days. And there's lots of online tools to do that. And we have an option here. You see when I select that image, I can actually just resize that. I can pull it down. I can say that image does not need to be so big and take up the whole screen. That's going to become more important, as you can see, because the next one I want to show you is I can also just pull an image from my camera as well. So if I wanted to, let's say I was out in the field and I was doing this, I saw some safety cones that the crew had set up incorrectly, and I wanted to just, while I'm out in the field, just quickly create a module that says, hey, you know, we need to be careful about the way we're setting up our safety cones around our construction sites. I could just pull up my camera and grab a quick photo. This is me. And grab a quick photo of those safety cones. Imagine I'm a safety cone in that situation there. And then that will just insert in there. We have noticed that a lot of times cameras these days, you could have a 4K camera on your phone or a 4K camera on your machine. And so it's going to bring in a pretty large image. So that's one of the reasons why we created this resize in here as well. Man, I look super dorky in that photo. So there we have some inserting images in there. Let me get back to my thing. Capture sizing. Yes. So when we were talking about the integration with our other tools, one of the things I mentioned is the game agency. So if I go back over to my, let's see here. Let me duplicate this tab so I can show you. I don't want to lose where I am there. If I go back into my administration page for my Rockstar Learning Platform account, I can see under my settings, integration, there's a place right there where I can insert in my training arcade domain and API key. And the really cool thing about this is if I go over to my training arcade, you can see, and this is just a demo account I'm playing with, but you can see here's the games that I have created over here in the training arcade. So when I come back here and I click that I want to insert a game, we seamlessly behind the scenes, because we're all one big happy company here, we seamlessly behind the scenes, we can make a call over to your game agency account and say, oh, here's all the games that you have created already. Which one of these would you like to insert in here? So I'm going to insert that jump around because I love crisscross. So I can just insert that game right inside my micro module here. Now, I had a poll question on here. So how many of you, just out of curiosity, are using videos right now in your e-learning or plan to use videos in your e-learning? And I'm going to have a follow-up question for you in a moment on that.
So far, almost everybody is saying they are currently using videos. Ashley says planning to do it soon.
Yeah. Now, just curious, well, I'll save that follow-up question for a few moments, actually, but hopefully I'll remember in a few moments because I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we have lots of options for inserting video into the tool. So again, I can just drag and drop it right in here. That doesn't show up well on, on a screen share. You wouldn't be able to see me drag and drop. So I'm just going to do from my computer, and I have one in here. This is just one of our videos that we have explaining to customers all the features of our new account interface there. So now we have one place that you can go to access all your eLearn Brothers tools, the Scenario VR, Rockstar Learning Platform, Asset Library. So we have one place we can go access them and manage all your subscriptions and tools there. So you can see that I dropped that in there. And I also want to point out, you see my little play button is kind of that brown color there. But if I was to change this theme back to the default, even things like the interface here is changing colors along with my theme. So that's pretty cool there. We try to keep the theme consistent throughout the entire experience there. And I can play that. Hey everyone, my name is Josh Ledgy. That's Josh Ledgy there talking. So we have that in there as well. I wanted to illustrate a couple of other ways that you can get stuff in here. Here's one of my favorites is, once again, we can access your camera and you can record something live right into it. So let's see, I'm gonna do this one. Pops up, gives me a little second. I can look at myself, make sure I'm positioned well. I'm not sure which camera this one's using. This camera, okay. I do have an option to change the cameras if I want. So if I had a front-facing, rear-facing camera, etc., I could change that camera. So let me just record a quick short video here. Hello everyone, this is James Kingsley. We're talking about microlearning and e-learning and the value of creating content quickly and easily to assist your learners. And I hit stop. It lets me preview that. I can play it from in here. I could scratch that one and say, oh no, I really messed up how I pronounced microlearning there. I'm gonna restart that again. But I'm sure this is fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and insert that one. So we drop that one in there. And then thirdly, the way you can add a video, and I gotta go find my link to this, is you can simply just import it from YouTube. So I can just enter a YouTube link and hit import, and boom, there it is. So it's going to pull that one straight in from YouTube as well. And even though it's using the YouTube player behind the scenes, you can see that we've still themed the play button and the scrub bar, etc., to match our current theme that you've chosen here, which is pretty nice. Again, just trying to keep things consistent for your learners. It can be a bit jarring when they get to this and they're like, oh, what, you know, there's a YouTube player in the middle of all this. So you can still see the YouTube stuff in there, but we've overlaid our own player on top of that as well there. All right. All right, so I didn't mention, you can also insert arcades. So from the TTA, so if you have a game agency account and you've created arcades, you can insert them right in here as well. This is pretty useful because if you have a Rockstar Learning Platform account and you want to get your arcade in there, this is a very simple way to get that in there. It's also a great way to get these other file types into the Rockstar Learning Platform directly just by launching this tool, build your microlearning module, insert your games, your videos, and then publish it on over. Speaking of publishing, I'm going to go ahead and hit that now. So when I hit publish here, you'll see it's going to start uploading all my content that I have in there. Get to the top there. It's going to start uploading all that content that I have in there and processing it in the background as well for me. So then I am free to exit this window. And I hit the publish button, but I don't see that it did publish it. Oh, here we go. I have an empty text block on my thing here somewhere. So, oh yeah, this is that one that I accidentally inserted. So all I need to do is delete that bad boy there. Then I can hit publish. And we'll see it's creating my course. It's uploading each one of those element items that I added to it. When it's done, it closes that module and it returns me that module builder, and it returns me right here back into the Rockstar Learning Platform. One thing I wanted to point out while we're here is this little thing says that my thumbnail will be updated automatically. So behind the scenes, what we do is once we have all your course content and your text and everything up into our database, we actually, behind the scenes on a web server, we can generate a thumbnail of what basically the top portion of your course looks like. So that's one reason why you might want to make sure that whatever you have up at the top looks pretty nice, because that's what's going to end up being your thumbnail here. That does take a moment because we have to process those videos and images and then create that screenshot that'll be there. But we'll see it in just a moment there. Now, as part of the Rockstar Learning Platform, what I would want to do here is make sure that I give access to this course to a particular learner group and that it's published. And then I can hit save on that. So I've already created a course cleverly named Kingsley Course. Sometimes I'm not the most creative with names. And so now what I can do is I can just drag my new module right over into my Kingsley course, and then I can just publish that out so that then my learners will have access to it. Anybody that has access to the Kingsley course and is in that media group will have access to that as well. Now, while that's running there, I just want to show real quick another way that this tool is implemented in the Rockstar Learning Platform. If you haven't seen channels yet, they're really very cool. Channels is an option that you can turn on in your Rockstar Learning Platform account that enables learners to share content. So maybe they found a YouTube video that they think is very useful for your community in the Rockstar Learning Platform. Or maybe they find a course or a module that they think, wow, I think everybody could benefit from this one. But we've taken that a step further too. And so, and of course, this is an option that you turn on in there. It's not on by default. I don't think it's on by default, but it's an option you can turn off or on. And so channels, like I said, these are modules that learners can add to it. But there's also an option in here for a learner to contribute brand new content in here. So let's say it's one of the members of your community is in the warehouse and they see some water spilled on the floor, and they think, wow, we should really let everyone know that if there's water spilled on the floor, here's the procedures to set up the safety cones and to clean it and everything. So they can just come right into this channel and they can hit contribute. And that's going to bring up that same interface that we just saw there. And so this enables your learners to take those photos right there in the warehouse. They can take a video in the warehouse. They can add some text around that, and they can publish that out in there as well. So let me just come in here. I got this panel in my way. All the Skype, or all the Zoom stuff is right on top of my page. To save time, I'm copying and pasting stuff. So they could come right in here and they could say, hey, I noticed when I was out on the floor, and of course this content again is about the subscription learning. While I was out there on the floor, I noticed that there was some water on the floor. Here's some photos of that. So they could just come in here and grab a photo. Stick that young lady in there. She's probably responsible for spilling that water. And so that they can fill this out themselves in here. Water on floor. And then they can publish it, and that's going to show up in the channel. Boom, water on floor. So that's awesome because now it's not reliant on just the administrators and the instructional designers and the subject matter experts. We can actually empower our learners to contribute to their community and to help create new content that can be shared inside there. So now let's come back over. I'm going to go back to my learner dashboard. Remember, I'm logged in as a learner here right now. And if I go to my Kingsley course, oh, looks like it's not there yet. I am not an expert at the Rockstar Learning Platform, so I may have hit a wrong button or something when I was publishing this. Yeah, see, I don't see, I don't see my thing there. Did everybody see me drag that over, or was I having a, people used to say senior moment, but I'm gonna say, was I having a COVID moment where maybe I didn't drag that over there and hit publish on that? But we can take a look at another one that was created in there. So if I go back to this one here. So this is one I did when I was just getting ready for this yesterday. You'll see it's very similar content. Yeah, yesterday was Tuesday. Yeah, so it's very similar content because this is one I was getting ready for. So as we can see, this is what it's going to look like for our end learner, because I am logged in right now as an end learner. Here's a little trick for you, by the way, if you're not in the web development world. A fun thing to do is if you hit your, and I don't know what it is on Mac, but on Windows, if I hit F12, oops, if I hit F12, I can actually bring up my developer console in here. And one of the cool things you can do in the developer console is you can tell it to mimic a device. So this icon here, so that'll show me, oh, this is how that content would look on an iPhone 12. Now keep in mind, it's not actually an iPhone 12, but it's gonna emulate that and simulate a little bit. You see my cursor's turned into a little finger thing so that I can grab and scroll down as I would there. But it's kind of nice because then you can get an idea for anything on the web, not just our tools. But once you know how to pop that development panel open and look at that, it's pretty nice to be able to jump in there and take a look at those things in there. So I want to go back. There's our games and things we've inserted. And so I want to go back to this one. So this is that video that we dumped in there. It's a video from Josh, one of our product managers, and that he made some time ago. And if I play that video, and hopefully you're going to be able to hear this. I don't know, man, if I crank my speakers up all the way.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Bledgey, I'm a product manager here at eLearning.
So there's Josh. And as we can tell, Josh is very much an English speaker. Right? So what we've done here is we have added closed captioning to that video. So you see when I click that right away, closed captioning is popped up on here.
Through the applications tab,
And you can see it's keeping up to date with what he's saying there. Now, as you recall, I just uploaded a video. There was no closed captioning in that. So behind the scenes, when you upload your video into our tool, we send it off and we use some AI. We extract the audio from that video. We run it through some AI to convert the voice in the audio to text. And then we create closed captioning files from that. There's a special file format, VTT, that's used for closed captioning. And so we automatically do that for you. It's part of the service. You upload the video, we create that closed captioning for you. Awesome, again, for the ADA 502 compliance there. But then we go a step further. Maybe your learner is not an English speaker, and so they have no idea what Josh is saying there. So what we've done is we've added, what is this, 9 different languages there? So if I wanted to see these closed captions in, let's say, Chinese, there they are. And so as Josh is talking, those closed captionings are showing up in Chinese at the bottom there. And that's another thing that's just built into our service. So once we have the text and we've created that closed captioning file, we then translate those captions into other languages. Now here's where, hopefully, I'm going to blow your mind here. So, not only can I see the closed captions in there, I can actually change the language on here as well. And again, hopefully you're going to be able to hear this. So what we've done there is we've taken Josh's voice, converted it or transcribed it out of that video, converted it to the closed caption text, translated all that closed caption text to different languages, and then we convert those closed captions into audio of all these different languages in there. Currently there's, oh, that's the captions, whoops. Currently, there's 8 different languages that your learner will be able to listen to that video in. So again, how many of you, and this is the question I was going to say right earlier, how many of you need to support multiple languages in your learning content? Just curious. And if so, what languages are you looking for on there? And I should stress at this point that, so we've been working on this product, I'm going to say, for 8 months. I think we've accomplished a lot in that 8 months. And so some of these things are still in beta in there. And so we are soliciting and looking for feedback on different languages we should support, different types of blocks that you would like to insert in there. And so even though I'm showing you this now, don't be surprised if tomorrow we've added 10 more languages, or maybe we take away Portuguese because we find out nobody's really using Portuguese. And so that's why it's important at this stage that we get as much feedback as we can from all our users or potential users, so that we can make sure we have in there all the features that everybody's really looking for in there too. And I should also point out that because we're using AI for the transcription and translations, it's not always perfect. I've seen a few times where it might throw a word off here or there, but since it's included in there and it's saving you the time and the effort of hiring a third-party translation service and all that back and forth and everything, it's just so quick and easy. If I go back to the other course I did, eLearning, what is it? Did I drop that in here already? Yeah, eLearning, what is? I can preview that one. So this is the one that we just published a few minutes ago. And if I go to that video, so you just saw me re-record this like what, 5 minutes ago, and already it has in there all the different captions, and it has all the different languages in there. So if you want to hear me speak Italian and read it in Spanish, there it is. So it's super fast and it's built right into the tool in there. So that's pretty awesome in there. All right. Did I have another poll question at this point? Oh, this is not necessarily relevant here, but it's one I missed earlier. I was curious if anybody's using any of these online rapid course development tools right now, and if so, like which ones are you using? But more importantly, like what features are they really missing, or what features do you have to have for that? Going back to that, you know, we're in the early stages of this, we're building it out, we're super excited because we get to build this thing from scratch, and as a personal note, so my wife is an instructional designer, and so almost every day I'll show her what I'm working on, and so she'll say, well, you know, when I was building a course the other day, the thing I really wished I had was this. And so that's had a lot of influence on me, is having dinner with an instructional designer every night that can help me figure out what features. But I shouldn't just build the tool that my wife loves. I need to build the tool that everyone loves. So like I said, feel free to give us any and all feedback. We're really looking forward to it and loving that. Now, I wanted to jump over and show one or two more things in here. Okay, so one, when I come back to this in my course library, remember I said it would generate a thumbnail? So there it is. There's my thumbnail for that course we just did. So basically it's captured a screenshot of the top of the page. So we had in there, the title was eLearning, what is it? That might be small for you to see. Ooh, I lost it. I tried to zoom in too much, flew too close to the sun. So we had in there eLearning, what is it? We had that banner at the top, and then that's the beginning of that first block of text that we had under there. So I find that when I'm creating these, it's really nice to put a nice image or something at the top to really make it stand out to you and to the learners when they're in there. So that's pretty cool that gets added in there as well. Another really cool thing that we've done here in the Rockstar Learning Platform is this is my library I'm looking at. So this is all the different modules that I've created. I just signed up for one of our free accounts a couple of weeks ago mainly for this demo and for some testing. And so the free account comes with all these little starter courses and modules in there. So that's what you're seeing a lot of there. But if I go over to these contributions tab, so this will show me, remember when we were in there as a learner and the learner was creating that content about, oh, I saw some water on the floor? This contributions tab will show me all the content that any learner has contributed to any of the channels that I have enabled. And one of the awesome things here is if I'm an administrator or an instructor, or I work in one of the offices and I've seen that content, I'm like, wow, you know what? They are spot on with that content. We need to make that a part of our curriculum. You know, Sally's explanation of water on the floor was so great. I'm actually going to add that contributed content to a course to make it a requirement for people to complete. So because I can see all that in there, that enables me to actually add it to courses in there. And then I can publish that one as well. Let me go back over and see my Kingsley course, which ones have showed up in there. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So there's the water on the floor, and you can see that's the screenshot from that one. eLearning, what is it? So these are the two that we've created during this webinar session on here today in there. So then, I saw a quick question about mobile. So let me pull up. Oh yeah, this is one of the courses. So if I go into that little mobile view there, I did want to illustrate that because I've made some of the images small there, if a learner needed to see it in bigger detail, they could click on it and it will pop that image up in some bigger detail. They could zoom in on it and look at it in closer detail on there, because we recognize that on mobile, some of those images may not show up as large as you need it in there. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is in the very near future, let me pull up one of these, like I'm going to edit it. Here, I'll just go back into this one. My library, eLearning, what is it? Edit. And so then I have the option here to come back in, and if I say, oh, I did a typo or I missed something in there, I can do that. But I also wanted to mention that although currently we have these types of content that you can put in there, Very soon, this product is going to be connected to our asset library so that you can grab any of the, gosh, I don't remember how many, like hundreds of thousands of images and videos and icons that we have in our eLearning asset library over the eLearn Brothers website. And then also we are in the process of connecting it to the Scenario VR. So if you've created a virtual reality walkthrough of your office or maybe the manufacturing facility, then you can drop that right in here as well. So that is in the works. And then I think I saw someone had asked this question. Soonish, and you know how product development goes, you can never give any specific dates, but soonish, you know, you saw how easy it is for me to show the translation for these videos. Very soon, you'll be able to see the translation for every bit of text that you've put on the page as well, so that your learners, if they're in Brazil and they want to see the entire course in Portuguese, they can click a button and it will translate the entire thing. We have some, it's more business flow logic that we need to work out on that, because not everybody needs Portuguese, not everybody needs Korean. So we're trying to work through the best way to supply those features to the people that actually need it. But that's in the works, coming soonish to a module development near you in there. All right, and then real quick before I jump over and start answering those questions and reviewing your poll responses, I did want to point out that if you want to play with any of this, and I think Kristen may have already plopped that in there, if you want to play with any of this, we have on our website here, you can just go through the eLearn Brothers website, click on get a plan. Actually, let me go back and do that so you can see the process. eLearnBrothers.com. And so then if I go to my products, Rockstar Learning Platform, pricing, boom, we have a free account right there. And you can click on that, fill out the form. We send you an email. You can just jump right in and start building content on your own. No need to download software or learn how to use a complex tool. It basically, if you can write a Word document, you can create a micro module in there. I keep saying micro module, but from a technical point of view, there's nothing keeping you from making that page an hour long. Your learners might not appreciate it, but nothing's keeping you from making that page an hour long. Oh, that reminds me, one other thing that I should point out there as well is when we're in here, you can see these are marked completed and that one's marked not started. So we are right now, we're doing some basic completion status. So when the learner has viewed all the content, when they get to the bottom, then we mark that module complete. In the very near future, once we start adding more interactivities and we have other things in there, then we will start setting it up so that you can decide, you know, what constitutes completion. Is it completing a quiz? Is clicking on every tab that's in there? Do they have to watch the entire video? So those are features we're working on. But again, since we have this wonderful opportunity to build it from the ground up, it means that we get to take a little time and think about not just what's the easiest way for us to build it, but what's the easiest way for you to use it. And so that's where we would love to hear your feedback as well. All right, so I blabbered on maybe for too long there. So let's get to some questions. What do you say?
All right. Yes, we definitely have questions, James. So, is the final product published to a scorm file? And can you build something in the Rockstar Learning Platform or Lectora and then transfer it, export it to another learning platform?
So currently it's built into our platform. So it's built into the Rockstar Learning Platform. You cannot export it as a scorm file. That's a feature we're considering. If it's there's a subset of the features of this tool that's built into Lectora. And so if you were to publish your Lectora course as a SCORM file and then upload it somewhere, then obviously that would be SCORM compliant there. But it's no, so currently, no, it's tied into the Rockstar Learning Platform there.
Okay,
But it's a
good
free
to know.
account, so
Yeah.
jump in. Yeah.
Yes, that link is in the chat for the free account.
Mhm.
Couple other questions. So you showed us embedding a video from YouTube. Is it possible or potentially in the roadmap to be able to embed videos from other platforms like Vimeo or H5P?
Yes. We're planning on adding that. And again, when I say we're planning on it, I have a whole spreadsheet of like my dream features that we're going to add. Some of them might be 5 years from now. Some of them might be next week, you know. But yeah, we're planning on all the major video platforms, being able to link to them from there. And then also being able to connect it like directly to your Google Drive or your Dropbox so that you don't have to download the video to your computer and then upload it to our thing. Just be able to suck it right in from your Google Drive. One thing I will point out though is because of copyright stuff, we can't do the auto transcribe and auto translate on videos you've linked to. So because it's a YouTube video, we can't process that through our servers to extract the audio and stuff because we don't own that video. You don't own that. Well, I guess you might own the video, but it's up on YouTube. If you do own the video, just upload it to our service and we'll transcribe it there.
Okay, good to know. And then you showed us how it kind of comes up with that cover thumbnail on its own. Is there a way to change that or upload your own image if you wanted to customize that?
In the works. Yep. That is a plan that we have. Yep. Not currently. Not currently.
All right. Well, it is, as James said earlier, this is, something we've only been working on for what, less than a year, I think you said, James. So
Yep.
lots of things, lots of features we'll be adding as we continue to work on this and develop it. So the video, the translation feature that you showed us for those videos, is there a way, if a company only wanted to display English and Spanish as options, is there a way to limit those options, or is it going to show everything?
Yeah, currently because we're testing this out, so we're trying to track some analytics about what languages are being used. What we would like to build in is a way for the course builder to be able to select. Here's the 3 languages I want, or I don't want any languages, and so that's on the near horizon as well for you to have more granular control of that. But also, what's the downside and somebody listening to an Italian? If they spend a little more time watching your video because they're busy playing with the thing, they're probably more likely to learn where to put those safety cones because they've watched the video 3 times in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. So.
Yeah, I got to brush up on my Portuguese, I guess. We are getting some comments in the chat that Portuguese is a huge language for support in Brazil. A lot of people saying Spanish would be a priority language, also French. Yeah, those look like the top languages so far. Most people are saying that they would want.
Excellent.
One last question. If you're importing an image into the module builder, will the system resize the file for bandwidth consideration, or is it just going to be the original file size? And that's something that you would want to take into account before you upload your image.
Yeah, so we do process it. We do some light processing on it to make sure that it's a standardized format. And that in that process, it does lighten the file size a bit. But I would say if you're specifically aiming at mobile, then you might want to consider using a mobile sized version of the image. Yeah. But I'm going to take that on board as a feature request too.
Perfect. See, guys, you come to the conference and you can submit your feature requests directly to James. Who knew that was an added benefit of the virtual conference?
Yeah, and I'm sure my development team is watching this now, rolling their eyes like, oh.
Yeah, they're all sitting at home cursing you. They're like, oh, you just added 10 things to our list.
But like I said, our goal is we really are excited about making a tool that's great for course developers, subject matter experts, and learners. So we're very excited about it.